Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of 13 Rings Podcast. And welcome back, Mal. Very much missed you last week. Not to say that Chris wasn't great, because he was. But, of course, we always like to have our original, our OG Giants opinion and analysis person here. And certainly glad to have you back. I hope Florida was fantastic. It was Florida, right?
I was in Dallas. It was awesome.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I had a great time. Thank you guys very much. I miss you guys too. I'm excited to be back at it.
Now, the one thing about Dallas that I know for a fact you complained to us about was before you even got out of the airport, the souvenir shop in Dallas had what there?
Cowboys.
Had everything Cowboys. Absolutely.
Bar.
All right. I'm sorry, say that again, Mal.
Yeah.
No, I said you name it. They just had merchandise bars like all over the airport. Very funny.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Well, on that note, let's get into last week's previews. You know, as we do every single time, we review our predictions from the beginning of the season from last week. It was week 10 last week. No, week 11, my bad. Week 11. And some interesting things happened. So let's get to it. So week 11, we all predicted the Washington Commanders to win and the Giants to lose. Boy, were we wrong. We were so wrong. Oh, my gosh. We'll get into that first. But, you know, let's get to these other guys real quick. Philly, three of us predicted a win. One predicted a loss. Who was the person that predicted a loss here?
I do remember I predicted they was going to lose, and you and I think Mal talked me into, this is before the season started, talked me into the Eagles winning. Am I correct?
Well,
That is correct.
Yes, but Earl was not the one that had them losing either.
No, I didn't.
Mal had them losing.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
So-
I'm completely transparent. I thought they was going to lose at the beginning of the season.
No,
But
I
I
actually
am
had a feeling
thankful.
they were gonna choke it, and they did it twice.
And of
Yeah.
course, we had the Dallas Cowboys. I was about to say Mavericks, wrong sport.
Sure were.
And we had them all winning. So, that being said, Mal, it's about that time. Tell you.
about that time.
I'll let. I am so mad about this. I'm going to let you talk first because I need some time to get my feelings
Wait a
and
minute.
thoughts to one area.
Wait a minute. Are both of you guys mad your team, one team won and the other team lost?
Ooh, that's a good question. Mal?
I don't know. Like, honestly, I went into this week with completely no expectations. So, like, I threw the game on kind of like as background noise because I was like, you know, I don't really even know what to expect. And at this point, you know, I'm never going to actively root for a tank. Like, I always want to win. It always feels good to have a victory Monday. But if we lost, I wasn't going to be upset about it.
I don't know, Mal. Last time you were on, you were saying embrace the tank. I don't know.
You got to embrace it. I mean, we did everything we could. We got Tommy Cutlets at quarterback. So I thought that, you know.
Okay. Don't rub
Call him Tommy
rub
Cutlets?
salt into an open wound right now, okay?
Yeah, Tommy Cutlets, because his mom makes his chicken cutlets for him when he
Oh
gets
my
home
gosh,
from
I'm glad
practice.
that you brought that up. I just gotta say this. What? Okay. You know what? I get it. I get the young kids. He's a young kid. I get it. You're trying to save money. You're trying to, you're trying to save money in today's economy. I get it. But you're a professional football player and you still living with your parents. Not only that, you got your mama doing your laundry and your mama
Lucas,
cooking
how
your
old
food.
is Tommy DeVito? Mal, how old is Tommy DeVito?
Oh, I want to say he's in his early 20s. I'm actually going to look that up right now.
I don't
Oh,
if it,
It's not a problem.
He's 25.
He's 25. Earl,
Mm.
he's 25-year-old man getting his mama to do his laundry, cooking his dinner, probably tucking him in at night and kissing his forehead when he's not feeling well. Come on,
Lucas,
man.
Make his bed for him.
you're really mad about it, aren't you, sir?
This sounds like
I'm mad about a lot of different things regarding this. But
This would
you
be-
a grown man in the NFL. How you got your
And
mama doing your stuff
Look,
for you,
Look,
living
that
at her
news that
house?
when he spoke on that, I would have kept it hidden. Keep it a buck with you.
Man, that's the other thing. He said it. Like if it would have came out, that's fine. But he owned up to it.
Oh yeah,
I'm
going to
say this. I don't
there.
know how if he has a girlfriend, I'd be very surprised how. I don't know how a grown man at 25 be having a girlfriend when his mama would be doing everything for him.
This would be a great Adam Sandler movie. This would be it's like Mama's
Boy essentially
and
Waterboy, guys.
Put together.
This is essentially Waterboy. Gatorade.
Lucas. He'd be like, Mama said it ain't about the luck, but I sure love cutlets.
Yes.
Ain't nothing wrong with a good chicken cutlet now.
Look, I ain't judging about the cutlets. I'm just judging because you 25. You have been on this earth for 25 years. Your mama's still. I bet you she make his bed too. Bet you she make his bed too.
Hey, I mean, play on Sunday, so.
I mean, look, it would be all understandable if he pays rent. But if you don't pay rent, and your mama doing this for free, first off, she's a saint. Secondly, and she really loves
free right now.
Huh?
You living rent free right now.
He is? He said that in the interview?
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Let's find out if he pays rent. Because if he pays rent, okay, fine. That's understandable.
I'm
like
you know
what? Me and my parents had this conversation. If I had gone home after I graduated college, I would have had to pay rent. That's understandable. I get that. But if this man ain't paying rent and he's getting NFL checks, like, what you doing, bro? Tell me, is there any woman in New York City, Mal, that would be attracted to a man living at 25 years old, living with his mama while getting a good paying job?
The caveat, the caveat being an NFL player, yes. It is a question, yes.
Yeah, with that title, he in.
He shouldn't be. Anyway.
If I'm Tommy DeVito, I go to any bar and I say I'm the quarterback of New York Giants. He's gonna be all right.
And I love cutlets.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, Mal, let's actually talk about the game now.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So let's talk about what went right. So Tommy DeVito had a nice game. Yeah, my defensive line had a great game too. Kayvon Thibodeau stacked on 2 sacks, bringing him up to 10.5 sacks for the year, which is great for him. He's really making that second-year leap that we really wanted to see. So he's a bright spot in a rough season. Saquon Barkley had 2 touchdown receptions. He had a great game. Tommy DeVito had 3 touchdowns, which is pretty solid. And the defense as a whole had 6 turnovers. That's a great way to win a game, and I'm really happy with that. What went wrong? I still think that Tommy DeVito being sacked so much was a big problem for the offensive line and for him. He causes a lot of his issues by waiting too long and trying to go too quickly to the deep ball. So he has a lot of things to work on there. But I got to give the player of the game to Cutlets. He really stepped up, capitalized decisions to get us some points on the board there. And what do you think, Lucas, about the Commanders?
We lost to a third-string quarterback. A third-string quarterback! And I'm sorry for yelling. If I hurt y'all's ears, I apologize. But he is a third-string quarterback. Mal has said multiple times on occasion, this guy can't throw a pass. Yet, in this game, this guy threw for 246 yards, despite getting sacked 9 times.
He also had 3 touchdowns.
I'm getting there. Let me cook here for a minute. Let me just cook here for a minute.
Go ahead.
Look, what went wrong? What went wrong is that we didn't come to this game with any heart. We came into this game thinking that we were going to get a W because we were playing against a third-string quarterback. The offense was sloppy. And outside of the defensive line, the defense was sloppy. You know, we didn't even get an interception against this kid. Not a one.
Not one turnover.
And here's the thing. Most of our turnovers were stupid turnovers. We had 4 fumbles, 3 of which were lost, only 1 recovered. Like, guys, what are we doing here? and I forget who I had for your player of the game, Mal, here. I forget, but let me just say this. First off, and then the 3 interceptions. The first interception was an overthrow by Sam. The other 2, look.
Wait a minute. So altogether, you had 7 turnovers?
We had 6 turnovers, 3 lost fumbles, 3 interceptions.
Wow.
You gotta be kidding me.
Nobody's going to win a game when you have 6 turnovers.
Yeah, that's a case.
And that's a lack of discipline instilled by who? The head coach. The head coach is responsible for getting the team ready. This is a team that played that wasn't ready because they thought they were going to get the dub against a third-string quarterback. And this third-string quarterback was just like, nah, I'm not going to be hosed again by another in-divisional rival like I did against the Cowboys. I'm going to come out here and play. And you know what? We gave him a short field 6 times. Of course he's going to have 3 touchdowns. Of course he's going to have 246 yards. Of course Saquon's going to get 83 yards rushing and another and another 56 yards receiving with 2 touchdowns. Like, of course all that's going to happen when you turn over the ball 6 times. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not mad. I'm frustrated. I know I'm yelling right now, and I apologize, but I really haven't had a chance to talk about this because it's unexcusable. And here's the thing. Our worst fumbler wasn't even in the game. Antonio Gibson missed the game. Now, that is what went wrong. And just by the way, Sam Howell, we have to essentially treat him as a rookie because this is his first year starting. He's had 2 bad games, like 2 super bad games with multiple interceptions, like 3+ interceptions. This is the second one. The first one was against the Buffalo Bills. I expect him to have some lows because he is still a relatively young player. I'm not giving up on Sam Howell, who had 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. By the way, still had a better QBR than Tommy DeVito. Tommy DeVito only had a QBR of 36.1. Sam Howell had a QBR of 58.9.
Well, Lucas, before you continue, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
45 attempts, is that too much for Howell?
I think so. I think so. And me and Earl have debated this in the past. I want Brian Robinson. He had 17 carries. I want at least 20 carries for him. 20 carries for him, and Sam Howell to stay between 35 and 40 attempts. I think that's a good number.
I say 35.
That being said, let me talk about the good here. Brian Robinson was one of the goods. Sam Howell. Oh, by the way, shout out to the divisional ruffle between Curtis Samuel and I forget who was the defensive guy that got
Cordell Flott. That was something else.
That was look, first off, shout out to Sam Howell for showing heart by going into making 3 attempts to get a touchdown, even though he got it on the second attempt. Kudos to him for pushing it. Cordell, the player that got ejected wasn't even the player that slammed him. So Curtis Samuel messed up there. But I'm proud that Curtis Samuel stuck up for his quarterback like that. Kudos to him. I'm all for it. But what went right? I mean, Sam Howell, he had 1 rushing touchdown, 1 passing touchdown. Like I said, he had a bad game. Some of that was on him. Some of it was just bad hands by his receivers, poor time, miscommunication, poor timing. But what I was really happy about was the defensive line. In particular, David Mayo. And I know it wasn't until the trade that Mayo really got a chance here. But in this game, he had 6 total tackles, 5 solo, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 QB hits. That's fantastic. Absolutely love it. That is the type of game we need from a linebacker there. So I'm all for it. But the defensive line did a good job. We had 9 total sacks, yet we couldn't get it done because of turnovers. And I think this just goes back to my thing. This is another nail in the coffin for Ron Rivera. Magic Johnson, I forget the exact tweet, but hang on, I'll pull it up real quick. Magic Johnson tweeted about the game afterwards. It wasn't a good tweet. Let me just pull this up real quick. But while I'm pulling that up, do you guys have any thoughts or things that you guys want to say here real quick?
Yeah, I'll say this, Lucas. Real quick, and then I'll let Maurice go. I think And I don't think Ron Rivera is a good coach. I just think that this was one of the worst coach games he's had this season. Like you said, they looked very unprepared. There wasn't much discipline, and I think that's really what. In the fourth quarter, you guys had the ability to come back and tie that game up, even win it with a 2 point.
Oh, I
And
agree. And then we had another
with six
turnover.
turnovers. That's crazy.
Absolutely.
It was only 5 turnovers, which is crazy. So you guys had every opportunity to win that game. I think, like you said, you're forcing Sam to throw the ball too much, and it's making him make mistakes. And like you said, that falls on coaching. But Maurice, I'll let you say your thoughts too.
After Maurice goes, I'm going to read you what Magic Johnson said.
I mean, going into this game, it wasn't going to be a highlight reel. Two of the best teams. One team had 6 turnovers. The other team's quarterback got sacked 9 times. And I reiterate what I said many times on this pod is both of you guys need to really put a lot of resources into getting your offensive lines better.
Agreed.
Because Howell got sacked 4 times. DeVito
Yes, he
got
did.
sacked 9 times. I don't even know how he's still standing, getting sacked 9 times, but he got the job done. I mean, I'm actually shocked that the Giants won. And for anybody out there who sees our clips on social media, I said last week, I said that I pretty much said the Commanders were going to win this game because they don't trust Tommy DeVito as a quarterback to throw the football. And well, he beat y'all. I don't see how the Commanders.
I told you I wasn't feeling good about this game. Y'all didn't want to listen.
I already told you how I thought and how you felt about the game.
All right.
The Giants are the team.
Let me go. Yeah, I don't disagree anymore on that one. That being said, let me read what Irvin Magic Johnson, part owner of the Washington Commanders, said about this game. He said, "Wow, my Washington Commanders turned the ball over 6 times today and gave up 24 points off of turnovers. We lost 31-19. That means without those turnovers, we would have won. Arguably, may not have happened, but we would have won without the turnovers, 19-7. Because you guys didn't have any turnovers. We had all the turnovers. Like I said, you get a short field, I don't care who's at quarterback, something's good's going to happen. All right? So I think that's just another nail in the coffin for Ron Rivera. I don't think you can recover after this. And I'll go a step further because I talked to Earl about this. After the game, I wanted to scorch earth, fire everybody then and there. Earl asked me this: do I want to fire Ron Rivera now? Or wait until next week after the Cowboys game? And Earl, what was my ultimate decision on that?
You wanted it like ASAP. But
At first.
you thought about it, yeah, and you thought about it and was like, and the Commanders play the Cowboys tomorrow. So
Yes.
whatever happens there, you got a good 9-10 day window to do more than that to clean house, because I think they have a bye week right after.
We do have a bye week. So yeah, I think they should fire Ron Rivera after Thanksgiving. And by the way, re-recording on Thanksgiving, I don't think I said that at the beginning. And happy Thanksgiving, everybody. But getting back to that at hand. Watch out for Gobbles, the turkey. Anyway.
If they even knew.
Anyway, fun fact, I actually do have a little statuette of a turkey in my classroom that I call Gobbles. Anyway, no, look, I think especially if we lose this game tomorrow against the Cowboys, that's a pretty bad losing streak. I think that's 4 games at this point. And yeah, 3 games. And if that's the case, I think you got to fire Ron. I know that I think the ownership has seen everything it needs to see at this point, and I think you fire Ron. And I'm sorry that this segment, I've hijacked the beginning of the podcast here, but I think it's important to say, because I mean, no offense to you, Mal, but the Giants are going to be a top 5 lottery team. or should be anyway.
I'm for it.
And you know what? At the rate that we're going, we might be right there with you. And if we do get there, I'm just going to say this. We need to either get an offensive lineman or Marvin Harrison Jr. He might be too good to pass up.
Well, just looking at the draft board right now, the Giants are 5th. The Commanders are 7th.
Not very hard to fall that far. Just going to say that.
Right.
Might be, you know what, Josh Harrison embraced the process in Philly. Might be embraced the, trust the process in DC. Just going to say. All right. My player of the game for the Commanders, I said it earlier, David Mayo. Mal, you said your player of the game was Tommy DeVito, Mr. Chicken Cutlets. Yep. I bet Mommy DeVito made extra cutlets that night.
Actually, there was a deli that gifted him a free chicken parm hero who was over the moon.
Oh, I bet he was. He was thinking. Mom was going to be so proud. All right. That being said, let's get to our next game now.
I think it's on me.
I believe it is.
Alrighty.
Errol.
The Cowboys played the Panthers. We defeated them 33-10. The game alone, it was slow, but close to the end of the first half, and to close out the game, Dallas decided to wake up. And overall, I thought their performance in the game, it seemed like at first it was kind of just iffy, as if they were like trying to play around with their food. And then next thing you know, they started clicking into gear with it. There was some things I saw in the game that I thought kind of it wasn't as serious as they wanted to, and I kind of put that to the line of them playing with their food. I know that every game matters regardless of record, and never look down on your opponent. So every game that I speak on in which I say complete domination, all I'm looking for is consistency. Consistency with this team on how they play. I know it's not near perfection, but if you can show signs of consistency, then that's good for me. I've seen too many times where they'll play an amazing game and then next week they play a not as good game. And then it's kind of like a old never ending roller coaster, up and down, up and down. So there's a reason why I'm so hard on this team, because I know their capable ability, and I just want them to see consistency. I want to see consistency with this team. What went wrong in this game? The run game and defense has to improve. I'm seeing too many gaps being open, linebackers not hitting the gap to close in the gap, to stop the running back. I'm seeing that most of the guys that are playing linebacker are very undersized. We pretty much signed Rashawn Evans to the main 53, and I didn't see not one snap of him playing middle linebacker, which is his homegrown spot. I saw him on the line. I don't understand why he was on the line trying to pass rush, but he wasn't in the right spot. Micah Parsons, I need to see him more getting some snaps at linebacker. I know he's a very gifted guy pass rushing, but I believe he has so much untapped potential at the linebacker spot, especially with the LVE being out for the season. I really need to see him more at the linebacker spot, getting more reps, as well as more understanding of the position, because it seems like over the last season into the off season, he's built in the pass rush. I need to see more linebacker, because I think that's his special spot. We know that he can pass rush, but linebacker I think is his ideal special spot, in which when you need him to close the game, you get him out there pass rushing. And another thing that went wrong was the lack of instinct within the players. Lucas, I know how you talked on how Curtis Samuel was looking out for Sam Howell and stuff when he got knocked out,
yes, sir,
out of bounds. And I saw Dak get hit twice, and the linemen never showed protection of their quarterback. And that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, because it's a team sport, but it's also a brotherhood. I need to see these guys have that grit to defend their quarterback. And there was a time Devontae Turpin got pushed down. No player was like, hey, man, what you doing? Or someone of that. So I'm just seeing some things where it seemed like in this game they were soft. And going into this next game against the Commanders, I need them revved up, ready to roll, hungry, ready to fight because it's gonna be a it's gonna be an underground fight.
Mhm.
And I just felt that the lack of instinct within the team, it just I don't know, they just didn't really have that main focal point. But towards the end of the game, it was solid. What went right? Their run game creations. They were able to get. They didn't have much of a big passing game, but I saw Tony Pollard. God, I got tongue tied. Tony Pollard. He was running more aggressive, in which he was hitting the gaps, but it seemed like he was just kind of fighting through, trying to get his energy, his aura going, hitting the gap. I know that he's not a north runner, but he's an east west runner, and he he's more of a east and south runner where if you can get him out on jet sweeps and just getting the ball, getting him moving, that's where he's most dangerous. And you might have to look into getting more reps with Rico Dowdle or Hunter Lukey or even Deuce Vaughn. Just getting the mix up with different running backs to be able to build on the run game because it's going to open up a lot for the offensive line, and especially with Terrence Steele recovering from an ACL injury. But overall, I liked how they played. I'm gonna give credit to the defense in closing out the game. Deron Bland got another interception under his belt, as well as a pick six. And a little nugget with that, he tied fourth in interceptions returned for touchdowns in the season. All he needs is one more to break it, and he's tied with great Eric Allen, and thought that was really cool. But overall, I thought the team responded closing out to the game, in which when the defense woke up, they woke up. Micah Parsons, he had 2.5 sacks. I think they should have credited him for the third one, but he got credit for half with Jalen Curse on the sack. And my player of the game is actually Micah Parsons. Dallas, they they won the game and won to Washington, and happy that they showed some sign of consistency.
I was gonna say, I thought I misheard you. You didn't say what went wrong was the defense, did you, Earl?
I said that the what went wrong was their run defense,
Okay.
and I said that they had some lack of instinct in defending their players as one. And then I said there wasn't many reps with Rashawn Evans at linebacker, but need
I
to see
mean,
Michael Moore at linebacker.
I'll say this before Lucas goes. I mean, let's get something clear. The Carolina Panthers are the worst team in football. They're 1-9. So the Cowboys should have did what they do. They should have stomped them, which they did. Now, I mean, they rushed for 110 yards. I mean,
That's what I was going to say. They didn't look like they really gave up too much on the ground.
yeah. I mean, the defense, Cowboys defense showed up. They did what they had to do. I mean, 7 sacks, a pick six, Bland with another pick six, and a fumble recovery. So they beat the team they supposed to beat. They didn't play down to the competition, which is kind of been a reputation of the Cowboys. They did what they had to do.
Yeah.
I
So
said
Earl,
at the beginning,
sorry, go ahead, Earl.
I was saying at the beginning, it seemed like they were playing their food. When the game went along, they closed it out. So I'm not saying that they had a bad performance. I'm saying that when it seemed like they were playing with their food, they were playing with their food. I understand the Panthers are 1-8, technically 1-9 now, but they still have guys that can show up any Sunday. And when I was saying any given Sunday, is that I know the Panthers aren't going to roll over and let Dallas maul them, but when the game went along, they still mauled them. I'm just saying that seeing the consistency with this team, and I understand you're an Eagles fan, You see how your team is. I see my team under a different scale because of so much. I think this team is taking care of what they need to with the wins, and I'm happy about that. But if I see something that is wrong, I'm going to state it because I'm never settled with how I see them play. I know what they're capable of doing going forward. I'm just stating what went wrong, but I know I have faith in this team, and it's a work in progress. And I'm ready to see more going into the end of the season. That's all I'm saying. Man. Like I'm not trying to talk down on you, but I know that I'm not complacent with what I'm seeing.
All right, fair enough. Well, just a few things that I wanted to ask you real quick, Earl. First off, you saw this game. I don't think any of us have played Carolina. I don't know if any of us will play Carolina this season. I don't remember off the top of my head. But what I will ask is this: Can Bryce Young be worthy of his first overall pick? I mean, clearly he's not the best quarterback that was in this draft. That's CJ Stroud. But can he be worthy of a first overall pick? Can he live up to the hype?
No.
It's just determination
Nah.
as possible. It's just he really didn't have much of a line that can shore up. I feel like he wasn't in the right spot with Carolina in that. And I think it's just with him, yeah, he won a Heisman, but at the same time, him playing for Alabama, yeah, he's gonna get that credit. But if you can get him around with a line and having him in better protection, he could work, but it's too early to tell if it's a failed product. Because yeah, CJ Stroud is doing his thing right now, and Bryce Young isn't. We just got to see how the season goes along next season and the following season. Then we can make that determination. Right now, I don't have an exact answer. It's too early.
All right. Second thing is that you were talking about how you were hoping more from Micah Parsons, but Earl, I had him as your player of the game. He showed out in this game. He had
Lucas,
six.
he was my player of the game.
Okay, because he had 2.5 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, 2 tackles for loss, 6 total tackles, and 2 solo tackles. So like the guy was spectacular. Okay, I'm just glad that we're on the same page here. All right,
Yeah, I just want him.
and
I just want him
thirdly,
to play more. I wanted him to play more linebacker, getting familiar with that position because there's some point in time when the season goes along, I would love to see him playing more linebacker, not
I
just
mean,
running.
he started his rookie year out there, right?
He, for the most part, but they really had him lined up for pass rushing ability. I'm talking about playing the typical linebacker spot.
Okay.
If it's being an outside linebacker, that's cool. If he's not ready to be a middle linebacker, that's cool. You have Rashawn Evans there who is a middle linebacker. Get him in the middle linebacker position.
Okay.
Michael roams around. He can go sideline to sideline. I just want him to play more of the linebacker spot.
Okay, my last thing here. Last week you said we were talking about where does Dak rank best QBs in Dallas franchise history. You said he was third, right?
I said he's between third and fourth.
So right now he's
third.
battling for. We're talking against him against Romo, right, for that third spot.
Yes.
What does he have to do this year to get that third spot?
You got to win.
You got to win what?
That includes you got to win the games in the postseason.
So you say for him to beat Tony Romo right now, he has to win a Super Bowl. What if he gets to the? What if he just gets to the Super Bowl or gets to the NFC Championship game? Neither of which Romo ever did, right? So,
yeah, that would be the case.
So if he got to the NFC Championship game, you would consider him the better quarterback than Romo now, correct?
Yeah.
You guys agree with Earl?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
I'll agree with that. I mean, statistically, he's going to surpass Romo anyway. So it comes down to accolades in the postseason. So yeah, I agree.
All right, cool. It's just that the Earl's favorite 4-letter network has been talking about if Dak wins the Super Bowl, it would change his legacy forever. So I just wanted to ask that question.
That's true.
I think it absolutely would.
It would cement his legacy with a Super Bowl ring. Like, I already know what his numbers he's gonna surpass Romo. That's why I have him as third. But it's just so many constant things appearing, and you win the big game and so on. If he can do it, that's awesome. But I already know what his numbers is. But if he gets that ring, that's gonna add more to what he's already done. And yeah, like that's my dude. I'm rocking with him, and I know what he's capable of doing, and I believe in him. So, like, yeah, I don't care what the 3-letter, 4-letter networks say. I just need Dak to play his game, and right now he's doing his thing right now. So, just looking for him to continue the momentum.
Hey, Lucas, real quick before we move on.
Yeah.
You talked about Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Does that trade look really bad now?
Oh my gosh, yes. Because I think they're gonna have the first overall pick. They would have another first overall pick if they didn't, look. I mean, they were probably gonna have the first overall pick if they had Bryce Young or not Bryce Young this upcoming year. But the fact is that they lost out on a really high draft pick on a guy that hasn't looked great yet. Now, like Earl said, it's too early to say for certain if he's not gonna, if he's gonna work out or not. But I will say this: it hurts them to be able to build around him. They can't build around him. Imagine if they had that pick.
So real quick, the Panthers traded the ninth pick in the first round of last year's draft,
yes,
a second round pick, and the first overall pick this year's draft, which the Bears currently have.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and receiver DJ Moore, who's done had some good games for the Bears.
He's had a few good games with them, yeah.
And,
against us particularly.
Yeah, and they traded that for Bryce Young, and this year they could have the number one pick and had Caleb Williams. So
yeah,
that is definitely true.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, they could have had Jalen Carter with that ninth pick.
Yep.
Who, famously went to the Eagles.
That was the pick. We moved that one pick to pick him at 9. Yep.
Yeah. They could have had him and then gotten Caleb Williams next year. Just had a stopgap quarterback because there are plenty of them in the NFL. Not Baker Mayfield, but like maybe they would have traded. You know what? They could have traded for the guy that the Cowboys got. What's his name?
Trey Lance.
They could have traded for Trey Lance.
Oh.
And still had Carter this year. It would have been fantastic. And then they still could have probably Trey Lance may or may not been the guy, but if he wasn't, then you still have a shot at Caleb Williams. Like the Panthers really just screwed the pooch on this one, if we're being honest here. But Maurice, I think we've delayed you enough. Oh, go ahead, Earl.
I do have this quick nugget. Earlier before the Cowboys-Panthers game, Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson had a moment, and Jerry's gonna add Jimmy Johnson to the Ring of Honor. Finally,
it's about time.
It's about time.
It's long overdue, but I know that like hearing these guys talk, and I'll say this real quick, and then Maurice, you can go. Those two are like brothers. Like they kind of finished their own sentence. The situation where they had failed on the situation where Jimmy left, it was, I have to say, Jerry Jones sacrificed a lot to at least get Dallas to a point of relevancy because in the 80s, they weren't that good. When Jerry Jones bought the team, he basically, I think he had like 20 million in regards when he bought the team with his own money. And he had to turn around this team in under a year, about 200 days, to turn the team around. And he was losing $1 million a day. And there was a time where Jimmy Johnson, when he was bringing him in, Jimmy Johnson was working pretty much for free. He really didn't have a paycheck for like 2 months. So it was in the terms of pro bono with these guys. And if you don't know what that means, it's professional services provided at no or very low cost. So they had to really sacrifice a lot from 89 to get to where they needed to in 92 and 93, get those Super Bowls. So happy that Jimmy Johnson is going into the Ring of Honor. That was something long overdue. And it was just a shame seeing all these other players going in, and you fail to realize the one coach that got you to the promised land.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very happy for Jimmy there. But Maurice, we got to talk about the Super Bowl rematch, the highest viewed Monday night game since 1996. I was 4. Right. Earl was 5. Maurice, you were probably less than 10 years old.
Yeah.
Mal, I don't even know if you were a thought at that point.
I was born in 96.
Okay, so you were almost
in your face, Lucas.
You was in the crib.
I mean,
you were in the crib.
But you were in the crib,
in the
exactly.
Womb still. The game was.
So, my point being that this was a good game. So, how about you tell us about it, Maurice?
This was a highly anticipated game, and it turned out to be a good game. It wasn't the greatest game ever, but it was really good. It was a nice game to watch. Now, let me start by saying this. Statistically, there is no real standouts here. So I'm just going to go past that. Devontae Smith, he had 6 catches for 99 yards. He was an impact player for the game, for sure. But this right here came down to resiliency from the Philadelphia Eagles, guts, whatever you want to call it. But this was a game where I would say into the third quarter, it was looking like the Eagles wasn't going to pull it out. But they sure did, man. Now, some of that is, and I hate the saying where people say, well, one team lost the game or the other team won the game. I'm just going to say the Eagles won this game. And I give it to the defense because the Kansas City Chiefs did not score in the second half of this football game. Now, the Eagles.
Is that really the defense? I'm sorry. I gotta say this.
No,
they dropped a lot of passes though.
Yes, they did. I mean, that's a part of football, Lucas. We had this conversation before, Lucas, with McLaurin. A catch is a catch. A catch is not a catch.
Okay.
So we had this conversation before. Right. Now, Travis Kelce had a fumble. Now, that was in the second half. Kelce had that fumble. That was a point of fumble, too, because a turnover, because they were going to score at least 3 points. I think it was at the 10-yard line when that fumble happened.
Yeah.
And then the receiver, I forget his name offhand, Scanling, his drop, that was a touchdown. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, it was.
It was
a touchdown. I'm being plain honest. But he dropped it. I mean, drops happen. So that's at least 10 points right there. Now, I'm just going to say this. Jalen Hurts was not the best quarterback on the field tonight. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. He's one of one. He's the best quarterback in football right now. Do we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we ran the ball okay. I would have liked to see us run more. DeAndre Swift had 12 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. I would have liked to see him get at least 8 to 10 more carries. But Jalen Hurts had 2 rushing touchdowns. One with the brotherly shove, and another one that was a QB run, a design run. The offense in general, the offense still looks shaky, and it's come down to the offensive coordinator Brian Johnson. He's just not creative enough. Our offense coordinator last year, Shane Steichen, who's the coach of the Colts now, he was innovative. He came up with different plays. He threw the defenses off, and he used the talent that he had. And the offense was much better last season. We're not there yet offensively, but our defense, the defense came through when they needed to. They had the stops that they had. Now they only had 1 sack, 1 interception, 1 fumble recovery, but that was enough. It was enough, and that's all it takes. And I always say, a win is a win. Now, going into this game, a lot of people thought the Eagles were going to lose this game, but we pulled out the victory, and that's all I can really ask for. I'll be happy with the win because we're 9-1. And we're going through a gauntlet right now in our schedule We play the Bills this Sunday, and then we play the Cowboys, Earl, in Dallas, and then we play the Seahawks in Seattle. And that's going to be the tough stretch coming up for us. So we got to win at least 2 out of those 3 games to hold on to our lead in the conference. And pardon me, so we play the 49ers as well in that also. So, what do you guys think about this one?
Yeah, I thought the game was a good game on all parts. The Eagles took advantage. The defense made plays to get the offense the ball. And even though the offense seems shaky, Maurice, Jalen Hurts made clutch throws. Like he threw a good pass to Devontae Smith to set up a goal line. And DeAndre Swift, he had some key runs in that game. I thought overall the Eagles, they capitalized on the Chiefs' mistakes. And on the Chiefs' hands, they had opportunities. They were in the red zone twice, came up with 0 points. And in a game of that magnitude, you got to make sure that you capitalize on all your opportunities when you get into the red zone. And the Chiefs didn't. Eagles capitalized. They got the win. That's it.
Yeah, Maurice, a win's a win, and honestly, I think I'm with Earl here. Jalen Hurts came up in some clutch moments there, and no matter what it looks like, wins where we can get them. I thought it was a good game by the Eagles overall.
And real quick, like I said, Jalen Hurts statistically didn't have a great game, but in the last 2 seasons, in a regular season, Jalen Hurts has been the starting quarterback. He's 23-2. 23-2. He's a winner. He just gets the job done. I mean, it just really comes down to that. I mean, him and Coach Nick Sirianni, they just know how to pull out a win. I mean, I'm kind of repeating myself, but this team is just so resilient. I'm really proud of them because I don't think they played a perfect game yet this season. And last season they had a little easier schedule last year. Don't get me wrong, but they were beating teams up last year. And this season they're just somehow, some way getting wins.
Yeah. Look, I'll just say this before we move on because we've got to move on. Look, a win is a win. Congratulations to you guys, but we know how special Patrick Mahomes is. He needs help. Him and Travis Kelce needs help. Clearly, the Chiefs have not been able to find their guy in the draft or free agency. That has to change this offseason if they want to stay in the championship window. They got to find at least one other guy.
They missed Tyreek Hill for sure.
Yeah, well, I think that kind of didn't. It was interesting. I was watching a podcast on YouTube, but I forget whose podcast it was. But Tyreek was a guest on there, and him demanding a trade was just a tactic to get the contract that he wanted. But it backfired, and he actually got traded.
Yeah, how about that? Hey, real quick, I don't know if anybody saw this play in the game Monday night, but did you guys see towards the end? I think it was the first half when Mahomes tried to spike. He did spike the ball, but Jalen Carter swooped underneath the center and almost caught the ball. Did anybody see that?
That was such a good effort.
I didn't see that.
I saw that.
I'll be honest. I didn't get to watch the whole game because daughter was in town, was with me that night. But yeah, no, that's crazy. I didn't see that, but that. I wouldn't be surprised if he did that.
Yeah, that was pretty innovative. If he would have pulled that off, that would have been all over the highlights.
It would have been the greatest play of the NFL season, in my opinion, if he did that. That being said,
I got one more thing with that. The tandem with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts is showing y'all resiliency. Do you kind of feel like it's like a Rocky scenario?
Well, it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that. One of the network shows, they said that Monday night game was like Rocky 2.
Oh Lord!
It was they lost the first one. They lost the championship one, but in the rematch, they somehow won. people who watch Rocky too, they
know. They know. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to our NFC East stats. Mal, take it away for us.
All right, awesome. So let's start with the Giants. So Kayvon Thibodeau moves up to 10.5 sacks in 11 games on the season. This is the first time a player in Wink Martindale's defensive system has ever had double-digit sacks. So kudos to Kayvon. He's looking good moving forward.
Half of them came from playing against us twice. Just want to point that out.
Yeah. So the Commanders really been helping that stat there.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I know, sadly.
Now we got the Cowboys. Deron Bland has been looking great. He got his 4th pick 6 this weekend versus the Panthers. That is tied for the single season record, so he only needs one more to break that.
Yep. And the 3 that he tied with are kind of NFL legends. Where you had Ken Houston back in 1971, you had Jim Kearney at 1972, and then Eric Allen in 1993.
All right. So let's see if he breaks that or all. That'd be cool.
We'll see.
Now we move on to the Eagles, and I thought this one was pretty cool. So we all know the tush push or the brotherly shove. When the Eagles run the tush push, they have been 41 of 44 on the play over the last 2 years, and that's a conversion percentage of 93.2%.
That is
so
insane.
It's safe to say they got that mastered, and they run it better than anybody else can.
Could you imagine? Oh, my bad. Could you imagine if Derrick Henry was doing that with the brotherly shove?
The Tennessee should be having Derrick Henry snap the ball on that for brotherly shove.
No. I'm saying if Derrick Henry was traded to the Eagles and was doing the brotherly shove.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it really comes down to the offensive line more than anything else. In my opinion, I think Jason Kelce, the other Kelce brother, is a future Hall of Famer.
He should be.
I think he is.
He should.
And that offensive line just does it better than everybody else. It's pretty much, I think, 2 yards and in is one of the most unstoppable plays ever.
Yeah, for sure.
And then last but not least, we have the Commanders. And I had down Sam Howell is still leading the NFL in passing yards with 3,038 through week 11.
Hey,
but Lucas, you want to share your stat that you had as well?
Yeah, so this goes back to the sacks in this past game. Commanders had 9 sacks. They lost the game. The past 25 games that's had 9 sacks or more, which the last game, the 25th game, goes back to October 13th, 2013, Kansas City versus Oakland. There have been 3 teams out of 25, including this past game, that have lost a game when they've had 5 to 9 or more sacks. The other 2 happened in 2022, Tennessee Titans versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Tennessee had 9 sacks, still lost the game 16-19. The other one happened in 2016. The San Diego Chargers versus the Cleveland Browns. San Diego had 9 sacks. They lost 17-20. So the other 2 games, it was less than a 1-score, gap. This was a 2-score gap in this game. And the Commanders lost. Unacceptable.
This is going to haunt you all week, is it?
It's going to haunt me the rest of the season until Ron Rivera is fired, which hopefully will be on the bye. Anyway.
That's fair, but that's the inclusion of our NFC East stats.
Yep. Earl, take it away.
Alrighty, it's the 4-minute drill. 2 minutes is not enough. So what we have here in the slate, let's see here. Mal, can you go off your recap of slate of games?
Absolutely. So first slate of games I had was the Bengals at Baltimore. Ravens won that 134-20. Mark Andrews suffers a season-ending injury as well as Joe Burrow. So sad day for both of those teams. Hope those 2 guys get well. Yeah. It was the first 100-plus yard game. Yeah, may they recover. It was the first 100-plus yard game for OBJ since the NFC Championship game in 2021. So that's great for him. Lamar Jackson and Gus Edwards each had 2 touchdowns, which contributed to the win. I then had Pittsburgh and Cleveland. The Browns won that one 13-10. Jaylen Warren had 9 carries for 129 yards and a touchdown. He had a really nice game. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, rookie quarterback for Cleveland, since Deshaun is also out for the season. He was 24 for 23, 165 yards, 1 interception. Cleveland couldn't really get much going on offense. Then I had Seattle versus the LA Rams. Seattle loses a heartbreaker 17-16 after suffering a few injuries on a missed kick by Myers at the end of the fourth. Matt Stafford went 17 for 31, 190 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. Puka Nacua had 5 receptions for 70 yards and 1 touchdown.
Alrighty. The games that I have, and the first game I had was the Bears and Lions. The Bears, they pretty much gave the Lions a run for their money. And in the second half, the Lions just stormed back and stunned the Bears. Amon St. Brown, he's definitely an X factor with the Lions as a receiver. And it's really good seeing Jahmyr Gibbs get some tick. And he's starting to become that X factor for them as well. And the Lions won 31-26. The next game I saw, it was the Resurgence Bills team against the Jets. And Joe Brady is the OC with the Bills, and he pretty much designed a solid game plan for the Bills, and they blew out the Jets 32-6. And hopefully this win can at least give them the confidence on offense to run the ball, because I saw a lot of James Cook, and I forgot the other running back, but James Cook is definitely that X factor for the Bills as a running back. The next game I saw was the Vikings and Broncos. That one was actually a really good game. And the Broncos, they edged the Vikings 21-20 with Russell Wilson having a late touchdown pass to Cortland Sutton.
I'll say this. Let me say this before Lucas go. We talk about the Eagles and 49ers and Cowboys. The Lions are right there.
Absolutely.
They're 8-2.
Yeah.
And in the franchise history of the Detroit Lions, they ain't never been as good.
Yeah, it's been a long time for sure.
Yeah, they're sneaking up there.
All right. That being said, let me get to my games real quick. I had 2. First one, Raiders versus Dolphins. Dolphins won 20-13. Glad to see the rookie Davon Ochance back. He did only have 1 carry for 1 yard, though. I'm sure he'll get back into the swing of things. That being said, Tua had 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Tyreek dominated yet again with 10 receptions for 146 yards and 1 touchdown. The other game was the 49ers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. While Baker Mayfield has been a good story for the Buccaneers so far this year, he was no match against the San Francisco 49ers defense, who sacked him 4 times. Brock Purdy looked back into form with 3 touchdowns, 333 yards. Christian McCaffrey with 78 yards rushing. Overall, it's just domination by the 49ers, especially in the passing game, when Brandon Ayuk had 5 receptions for 156 yards, 1 reception. To put that in perspective, his average catch was 31.5 yards with a long of 76 yards.
Yeah, the good teams beat the bad teams, and they leave no doubt, for sure.
What you supposed to do?
Yes, what they're supposed to do. All right, so Texans beat the Cardinals 31-16. CJ Stroud had another good game, 336 yards, 2 touchdowns. But he did have 3 interceptions, though. Devin Singletary had 112 yards and 1 touchdown. And Tank Dell had a really good game, 149 yards on 8 catches and 1 touchdown. Without a doubt, CJ Stroud is the offensive rookie of the year. MVP, yes. I don't know about
that.
Jaguars defeated the Titans 34-14. Trevor Lawrence passed for 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Calvin Ridley had 7 receptions for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. And finally, the Packers put out a victory against the Chargers, 23-20.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our fantasy football, Earl.
All right, we had a split in wins and losses. Mal and I, we were the victors, and Maurice and Lucas, y'all were the losers. I'm gonna start this off with Maurice and Lucas explaining y'all defeats.
Maurice, you can go first.
All right. So, Lucas.
Why are you talking about me?
No. Oh yeah. No, I thought me and you were matched up. I'm sorry.
No. I played Mal.
You played Mal, yeah, and Mal beat the brakes off of you. But we'll get to that later.
This is about your loss, not my loss. Don't you start with me. Talk about how you lost.
John, friend John, he beat me 129 to 144. I was looking at him and see what he had. It was a collective victory for him. Metcalf gave him 18. Gus Edwards gave him 21. Hurts gave him, like I said, Jalen Hurts didn't have a statistically great game, but he gave him 22 fantasy points. Compared to Dak Prescott, who I did start this week. I started Dak. Joe Burrow was out. Well, Joe Burrow got hurt during the game, but I didn't start him, thankfully. So Prescott gave me 33 points. Caffrey gave me 19. What really hurt me was Garrett Wilson. He gave me a -1.
Yeah, I don't know what's been going on with him.
Fryermuth did that to you
quarterback
too.
situation.
Well, they're not starting Zach anymore. They're gonna have Tim Boyle start, I think, next week.
Tim Boyle.
Wait,
they dropped him all the way to?
They benched him in the third quarter, I think, right? Third or second quarter.
Yeah, he's third string right now.
Didn't the Jets bring in Joe Flacco? Was that another team?
No. That's the Browns. The Browns signed Joe Flacco. Shout out to Joe Flacco, still getting University of Delaware rep, still getting paychecks at 38 at quarterback. Good for him.
Go out.
Yeah, good for him. I'll say this: it's been a lot of bad quarterback play this season. A lot of quarterbacks being hurt, and the backups are just not good.
By the way, I just want to note real quick why you said that. I saw an article coming out today saying that Drew Brees would be playing in the NFL right now if he could throw with his right hand. Remember that shoulder injury he had back in 2005?
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's gotten so bad that he can't throw with that arm anymore, and he has to throw left-handed.
It was a deteriorating shoulder injury, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago.
That was, well, I mean, hey, 2005 wasn't that long ago. Like 17 years. I mean, yeah, it's long, but it's not, for an injury, that's not that long. But anyway, that being said, let me get to my game with Mal, because Mal, look, I just had people not show up today. Austin Eckler didn't show up. Terry McLaurin, Jalen Waddle didn't show up. But you had a lot of people have arguably some of their best games. Lamar Jackson had a solid game. Saquon Barkley with 32. Breece Hall with 16. Tyreek Hill with 23 and a half.
Yeah,
Calvin Ridley with 30.
Out.
How am I supposed to win against that?
I'm nervous too because Mark Andrews went out and
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown didn't do too well, but some of the guys really stepped up. So good dub.
Yeah. Congratulations. You beat me in both fantasy and real football. Wow, I said basketball.
Actually happened the last time we played the Commanders too. I think you and I played each other.
Gosh, it's just poetic at this point.
Ooh.
It is.
I consider it payback on what you said about her quarterback, Lucas.
I mean, I agree with them now, so it's fine.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say, she's not arguing with me.
Oh, no, it's just karma. Okay, hey, Mal, why don't you kind of explained yours. I'll go with mine.
Go ahead,
I won by 3 points. And yeah, I think that was probably a sweep with the matchup I had with your boyfriend, Mal.
Yeah, that was a sweep.
Twice. Yep. I had a unfortunate with Kenneth Walker. He had an oblique injury, and he gave me 1.6. I had CJ Stroud starting, and it really didn't make a difference if I started Stroud or Mahomes. They kind of had around the same numbers. Only thing Stroud had under 3 compared to what Mahomes did. Brandon Ayuk and Tank Dell were like my clutch guys. Tank Dell got me 23.4. Ayuk got me 24.6. And then like the Dallas defense gave me 17 and Justin Tucker gave me 11 points. So those kind of edge. Hopefully into the following week, I can get better results. But I like what my team did. It was a gritty win, and I'll take it.
All right, before we do the wrap-up, I just want to go to – I did post a social media question before the Eagles game. I asked social media, if the Eagles won this game, were they the best team in the NFL? 3 options were yes, no, only in the NFC. And according to our poll results here, 50% of Twitter said, yes, they are the best football team in football. Congratulations to you. In Threads, I'm not even sure if we had anybody. Threads, we're working on trying to build Threads, but Threads is really hard to build up, if I'm being honest. But if you are on Threads, make sure you follow us, okay? Actually, we had one vote who said no. That's interesting.
It was a hater.
Sure, Maurice, sure. No,
we'll just say it was a bot.
It might have been a bot. Who
It's a
knows?
bot.
And then on Facebook, we had the same thing yet again. We had a vote, and we had 2 votes. I was one of them, and both said yes. So yeah, there you go, Maurice. I hope that makes you feel a little bit better.
Well, I do feel good.
Good.
I got the best team in the NFL right now. We have the best record over the last 2 seasons. I'm proud of that. Now we just got to finish the job this season.
Absolutely. So Matt, how about you do next week's previews? What are we in week 12 already? Yeah, week 12's previews, and then wrap it up for us.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good. So tomorrow we have our Turkey Day matchup of the Commanders versus the Cowboys.
Hang on, Mal. Before you continue, I have to say, so me and Earl have been friends since college, since my freshman year of college, Earl's sophomore year. We have a rule about this. We do not trash talk each other's teams. If we want to be friends, we make this rule. We do not trash talk each other's teams until the game day. Only on game day can we trash talk each other's teams. So, Earl, you know what tomorrow is. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, I do.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble. But I can say this real quick for you, Lucas. I know what Dallas has to do, and I want them to run this race and treat it as every other game, but it's an important game, and it's a rivalry game. Just want you to know, no hard feelings.
Oh, no, there's no hard feelings, but I could also see you guys not showing up.
Ooh.
I can also see you guys.
Commanders,
no, you guys should win.
They
should win. Let's be clear. They should win. But Dallas sometimes plays down to the competition. They didn't this past week, but doesn't say that doesn't happen. We saw it with Arizona earlier in the year. So I got my hopes up here.
Okay, you got a shot on me. I got a shot on you.
All right.
You know how Sam Howell played at the end of the game last season and beat the Cowboys?
Mm-hmm.
That kick-started his career.
Yes,
tomorrow, Dallas is going to end that career.
Ooh. Okay. Shots fired. Let's go. All right, Mal, keep on going. I'm sorry.
All right. No, that's okay. So, yeah, we got our Commanders-Cowboys game tomorrow night on Thanksgiving. The Giants are back home on Sunday against the Patriots. We got some fans calling this one the Drake May Bowl, so we'll see who can tank the best. And then we end off the week with Bills and Eagles, which should be a really nice matchup. Looking forward to that one.
This will be the second game of the season where we wear Kelly Green.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Green
we got to make sure we use our Kelly Green social media graphics for that.
We will.
Absolutely. Also, just got to say this about the Pats game. Y'all could win 2 straight with a third-string quarterback.
We absolutely could, but I don't count anything against Bill Belichick, honestly.
I've heard some things. I've heard some things about Bill real quick. I've heard if this seems to be his last season in New England. It feels like it, right? So if it is, if he wants the job, apparently they're saying that Washington's been connected to him, which as long as I get Bill Belichick the coach and not the GM, I'm happy with. Or if things go sideways in Dallas, he could be coming to Dallas, Earl.
Ooh.
False.
False. He said
Erroneous on all counts.
Non-existent.
Why would you not want Bill Belichick if he became available and you guys failed to play well in the playoffs again?
Lucas, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Do you think Belichick and Jerry can coexist?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
I didn't think about that either. But Jerry would still try to get him. Jerry would still try to get him.
Look, all I'm happy about, Jimmy Johnson going into the Ring of Honor, and some may say it's a curse, and I somewhat believe in bad juju, and over the past years, I've seen some bad juju. Hopefully this shines a light.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's a curse. I think you haven't won since he's been the coach. So maybe if you recognize him as your coach, one of your best coaches ever, next to Tom Landry, maybe he might turn the tide. You never know.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it's a possibility, but like looking at the past couple of games, like over the past years when you're watching Dallas, they've had some very unfortunate events. From a fumble snap with Romo, the Dez catch. It's for that, it's a lot of different things that occurred. Like even in the game Dallas played against the Niners, Tony Pollard had a fumble where the ball did a magical curve roll to stay in bounds for the 49ers to recover it. I can't call that a coincidence. That's some bad juju. Because there's no way a football can do that. And it's like little snippet events. There's a saying that goes along with it, and y'all may have seen or heard of the color purple. There was a line in there that said, "Until you do right by me, everything you think about will crumble." Until you do right by Jimmy Johnson, Jerry, everything you think about will crumble. And I constantly seen a lot of crumble. So hopefully this rewrites the wrong.
All right. So let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Please make sure you follow us on X and Instagram at 13_rings podcast. And please make sure you follow us on Facebook, Threads, and subscribe to our Spotify, which is at 13 Rings Podcast. You guys have a blessed Thanksgiving with your friends and family, and we'll see you guys next week.